Hey YouTube, Herbal Prepper here, and today I wanted to quickly go over a garden. Now I'm going to show you a traditional garden right here and why I do not believe this is a good survival garden. Now as you can see, this is the man sowing seeds in a row. Now this is what it looks like. Okay, and I'm going to show you exactly why it's a bad idea. You see that right there? That's an aerial view of this person's garden. Now with an aerial view, you get a very, very good view of the entire property. So you get to see about how many acres or whatever they are growing on. So you get to estimate about how many people that this garden is going to feed. And then with that knowledge, you have about how many people are in the area or in the home or feeding off the garden. Also, your garden could get raided very, very easily. So people that are lazy or people that are you know, vultures that are gonna just say, I'm just gonna live off of other people and be a leech, they're gonna definitely harvest your garden before you get a chance to. So you're gonna have to guard your garden as if you would your bug out location, your fortress, or whatever. So I'm gonna show you what I think is a very good garden for survival purposes. And now, really. You see this right here? This is a garden that does not look like a garden, even probably most likely from an aerial view. And this is because you are using permaculture, with an exception of these pictures where you've of course had borders. This garden does not have borders. I'm sure this person has to literally make trails through their garden. And the reason why this is so, and even if you look at this entire picture here, it's still, everything's bushed together, everything grows on each other. For example, blackberries just don't say, well, I don't have a trellis to grow on, so I guess I'm just not going to grow. No, they find a bush or they crawl and work their way to something to crawl on. Latch onto a short tree, latch onto a bush, latch onto another. Like I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the Three Sisters, which is a Native American growing technique. And so basically you are using permaculture, you are using nature, you're mimicking nature to be self-maintaining. So this garden right here, these type of gardens are very, very low maintenance. As long as you don't, you know, border it in like that, these things will flourish, guys. And so a lot of people don't really like these as landscaping because they're not as pretty, they're not as defined, as you can see this here. But a survival garden, guys, you are not going to want someone to fly over your property and see, oh, we have people living here. You're going to want them to fly over and not see anything. They're going to see trees, they're going to see bushes, they're going to see a few, you know, plants, and they're not going to think anything of it. So let me show you how to do that. Of course, there are other pictures here. Let me see if there's anything that I like. Not really. So I'm going to show you the layout that I prefer. And that is this right here. Now, of course, I have my layout. You want to do your large trees, the trees that take a little bit of time to grow. So this would be ideal to go ahead and go to your bug out location and plant it. Find where you want your garden to grow and plant it. So you want to plant your large trees, your fruit and nut trees here. And then you want to do berry bushes. Like I said, berry bushes like to grow on things. Berries and bush, I mean, not berry bushes. You can use vine type plants that like to grow on bushes, and they will flourish that way. My mother has many honeysuckle plants, and let me tell you, the blackberries love, you know, just crawling up on the honeysuckle, and my mom every year gets a good harvest of blackberries. So, and then on the outside of this, so this is an entire garden, so you can do this in acres or smaller, however you prefer to do it. And then here you're going to have your herb layer. Now this can be medicinal and, you know, cooking herbs. You can use lots of different things. It's really up to you and your layout and where you live. Of course, some places are not fit for, you know, certain plants. And then you want to do your ground cover. Now this is things like clover, the stuff that grows in people's yards, wild strawberries. You can use purple dead nettle. Guys, I've done videos on all of this. So this is a great way to grow. And literally, so after all this grows in full, not in the beginning, but after all of it grows in full, people are going to just walk through the garden and just see, oh, those are weeds. You know, dandelions and all that you can put here. So they're going to see all of that, and they're just going to continue to walk through. Oh, there's a berry. They might pluck a berry or so and continue going. But I know I wouldn't if I were someone that did not know anything about a permaculture type garden. I know I would not stake out someone's property that had just a couple little ground cover, and it's hard for me to say that because I know I can recognize herbs and things like that, but if I were someone that had an untrained eye, I would not just, you know, stake out someone's house that had, of course, a bunch of stuff that just looked like nature, just looked like a bunch of stuff. Now, someone that had a garden that traditionally was growing in the form like this, of course, yeah, I'm going to know they're going to have a lot of stuff. So if I were a terrible person, I would, of course, stake out their place, and I would say, you know, get all of my group up and say, well, guys, look, let's get an aerial view if we can, or, you know, we can stake it out and see what they got. So this versus that in that layout is perfect for a survival garden, guys. So I hope this video is a blessing to you and explains a little bit, so you guys get started on that, and hopefully in a couple of years it'll be flourishing and no one will even know.